bless us, miss. I'm sorry, miss, I'm sure. But you are a stranger to me. What might you be waiting here for now?
Waiting for somebody to show some signs of knowing that I've been invited here.
Oh, you're invited, are you? And has nobody come, dear, dear?
A wild-looking old gentleman came and looked in at the window, and I heard him calling out, "Nurse, there's a young and attractive female waiting in the poop. Go and see what she wants." Are you the nurse?
Yes, miss. I'm Nurse Guinness. And that was old Captain Shotover. I heard him roaring, but I thought it was for something else. I suppose it was Mrs. Hushabye that invited you, Ducky.
I understood her to do so, but really, I think I'd better go.
Oh, don't think of such a thing. If Mrs. Hushabye's forgotten all about it, it'll be a pleasant surprise for her to see you, won't it?
It's been a very unpleasant surprise to me to find that nobody expects me.
Oh, this house is full of surprises, miss, for them that don't know our ways.
Nurse, there's a hold all and a handbag on the front step for everybody to fall over. Also a tennis racket. Who the devil put them there?
They are mine, I'm afraid.
Huh? Who is this misguided and unfortunate young lady?
She says Miss Hesse invited her, sir.
Well, has she no friends, no parents to warn her against my daughter's invitation? This is a pretty sort of house, by heaven. A young and attractive lady is invited here. Her luggage is left on the step for hours, and she herself is deposited in the poop and abandoned, tired and starving. This is our hospitality. These are our manners.
No, it's all right, Captain. I'll get the young lady some tea. And your room should be ready before she's finished. And take off your hat, Ducky, and make yourself at home.
Ducky, do you suppose, woman, because this young lady's been insulted and neglected, you have the right to address her as you address my wretched daughters?
Never mind him, Doty.
Ah. Favor me with your name, madam.
My name is Ellie Dunn.
Dunn? I had a bosun whose name was Dunn. He was originally a pirate in China. He set himself up as a ship's chandler with stores that I have every reason to believe he stole from me. No doubt he became rich. Are you his daughter?
No, certainly not. I am proud to be able to say that, though my father's not been a successful man, nobody's ever had one word to say against him. I think my father's the best man I've ever known.
He must have greatly changed. Has he attained the 7th degree of concentration?
I don't understand.
Oh, how could he with a daughter? I, madam, have 2 daughters. One of them, Hassani Hushabye, invited you here. I keep this house, she upsets it. I wish to attain the 7th degree of concentration, and she invites visitors and asks me to entertain them. But I have another daughter who is, thank God, in a remote part of the empire with her numbskull of a husband. As a child, she thought the figurehead on my ship, the Dauntless, the most beautiful thing on earth. He resembled it. He had the same expression, wooden but enterprising. She married him, and she'll never set foot in this house again.
Indeed, you never were more mistaken. She is in England this very moment. You have been told 3 times this week that she's coming home for a year for a health. I'm very glad you should be to see your own daughter again after all these years.
I am not glad. The natural term of affection of the human animal for its offspring is 6 years. My daughter Ariadne was born when I was 46. I'm now 88. If she comes, I'm not at home. If she wants anything, let her take it. If she asks for me, let her be informed that I am exceedingly old, and I have totally forgotten her.
That's no talk to offer to a young lady. Here, Ducky, have some tea, and don't listen to him.
Now, by high heaven, they've given this innocent child Indian tea, the stuff they tan their own leather insides with.
Oh, please, I'm so tired. I should have been glad of anything.
What a thing to do when the poor lamb ready to drop.
No. You should have some of my tea. And don't touch that fly-blown cake. Nobody eats it here except the dogs.
There's a man for you. They say he sold himself to the devil in Zanzibar before he was a captain. And the older he grows, the more I believe them. Oh, good gracious, it's Miss Addie, Lady Utterworth, and Mrs. Hushabye's sister, the one I told the captain about. Coming, miss! Coming!
Well, there's nobody at home. Where is Hermione? Doesn't she expect me? Where are the servants? Whose luggage is that on the steps? Where's Papa? Is everybody asleep? Oh, I beg your pardon. I suppose you are one of my nieces. Come and kiss your aunt, darling.
I'm only a visitor. It is my luggage on the steps.
I'll get you some fresh tea, Ducky.
The old gentleman said he'd make some himself.
Oh, bless you, he's forgotten what he went for already. His mind wanders from one thing to another.
Papa, I suppose?
Yes, miss.
Don't be silly, nurse. Don't call me miss.
No, lovey.
I know what you must feel. Oh, this house. I come back to it after 23 years, and it is just the same. The luggage lying on the steps, the servants spoiled so impossible. Nobody at home to receive anybody. No regular meals. And what is worse, the same disorder in ideas and talk and feeling. I'm married at 19 to escape from it. My husband is Sir Hastings Utterword, who has been governor of all the Crown colonies in succession. I have always been the mistress of Government House. I've been so happy. I'd forgotten that people could live like this. I wanted to see my father, my sister, my nephews and nieces, one or two, you know, and I was looking forward to it, and now the state of the house, the way I'm received, the casual impudence of that woman Guinness, our old nurse, really, Hesina might at least have been here. Some preparation might have been made for me. You must excuse my going on this way. I'm really very much hurt and annoyed and disillusioned. If I had realized it was to be like this, I wouldn't have come. I have a great mind to go away without another word.
Nobody's been here to receive me either. I thought I ought to go away too, but how can I, Lady Utterword? My luggage is on the steps and the station fly's gone.
There's your tea, young lady. Oh, what? Another lady. Well, I'll fetch another cup.
Papa, don't you know me? I'm your daughter.
Nonsense. My daughter's upstairs asleep. Now we are complete.
Papa, you can't have forgotten me. I'm Ariadne. I'm little Patty Perkins. Oh, won't you kiss me?
No. How can you be Ariadne? You're a middle-aged woman. Well preserved, madam, but longer young.
What is all the years never been away, Papa? I've had to grow old like other people.
No, you must grow out of kissing strange men. There may be time to attain the 7th degree of concentration.
But I'm your daughter. You haven't seen me for years.
So much the worse. I've begun to think my absent daughter Ariadne a perfect fiend. So do not try and ingratiate yourself here by impersonating her.
Ingratiating myself.
Oh, but I'm forgetting my social duties. You remember Dunn, Billy Dunn?
You mean that villainous sailor who robbed you?
His daughter.
No.
Take that hogwash away, do you hear?
Oh, you actually remembered about the tea. Oh, miss, he didn't forget you after all. You have made an impression.
Youth, beauty, novelty. They're sadly missing in this house. I am excessively old. A son is only moderately young. You know, children are not useful.
How can children be expected to be useful in this house? Almost before we could speak, we were filled with notions that were quite unfit for respectable people of any age.
You are always for respectability, Miss Addy.
Nurse, you will please remember that I am Lady Utterword and not Miss Eddy, no lovey, no darling, no doty, do you hear?
Yes, Ducky. I'll tell them all. They must call you my lady.
What comfort, what sense is there in having servants with no manners?
Lady Utterword, do you think that Mrs. Hushabye really expects me?
Oh, don't ask me. You can see for yourself. I've just arrived, her only sister, after 23 years' absence, and it seems that I am not expected.
What does it matter whether the young lady is expected or not? She is welcome. There are beds, there is food. I'll find a room for her myself.
Oh, please.
Lady Utterword, I don't know what to do. Your father persists in believing that my father's some sailor who robbed him.
You had better pretend not to notice. My father is a very clever man, but he always forgot things. And now that he is old, of course he is worse. But I should warn you, it is sometimes very hard to feel quite sure that he really forgets. Annie, my darling, my petticoat, how long have you been here? I've been at home all the time. I was just putting flowers and things in your room. Fancy you're finding no one and being neglected and abandoned. Oh, my poor love. Oh, you brought someone with you. Introduce me. Besides, is it possible you don't know me? Of course I remember your face quite well. Where have we met? Didn't Papa tell you I was here? really too much.
Papa?
Yes, Papa. Ah, Papa, you unfeeling wretch. I'll go straight to a hotel.
My goodness gracious goodness, you don't mean to say that you are Addie?
I certainly am Addie. And I don't believe I can be so changed that you would not have recognized me if you had any real affection for me. And Papa didn't even think me worth mentioning.
What a lark! Sit down. Oh, you do look a swell. You're much handsomer than you used to be. You made the acquaintance of Ellie, of course. She is going to marry a perfect hog of a millionaire for the sake of her father, who is as poor as a church mouse, and you must help me to stop her.
Oh, please,
My
Simon.
Pitikins, the man's coming here today with your father to begin persecuting you.
He's not a hog, Simon. You don't know how wonderfully good he was to my father and how deeply grateful I am to him.
Her father's a very remarkable man, Addie. His name is Mazzini Dunn. He's been fighting for freedom in his quiet way ever since he was born. That's why he's so poor.
I'm proud of his poverty.
Of course you are, my Pettykins. Why not leave him in it and marry someone you love?
Hesione, are you going to kiss me or are you not?
What do you want to be kissed for?
I don't want to be kissed, but I do want you to behave properly and decently. We are sisters. We've been separated for 23 years. You ought to kiss me.
Oh, tomorrow morning, dear, before you make up. I hate the smell of powder.
You unfeeling...
Ah. Well, your room is ready. The sheets were damp, but I changed them.
Oh! What about my sheets?
Take my advice. Air them. Or take them off and sleep in blankets. Oh, you were talking about my daughter Ariadne. Yes, you shall have her own room.
Indeed, I shall do nothing of the sort. That little hole. I'm entitled to the best spare room.
She married a numbskull. She said she'd marry anyone to get away from home.
You are pretending not to know me on purpose. I will leave the house.
Captain Shot over here is my father.
This? Nonsense. Not a bit like him.
I will not be ignored and pretended to be somebody else.
I will have it out with Papa now this instant. Excuse me. How do you do, Mr. Dunn? How good of you to come. You don't mind Papa, do you? He is mad as a hatter, you know, but quite harmless and extremely clever. You'll have some delightful talks with him.
I hope so. So, here you are, Ellie, dear. I must thank you, Mrs. Hushabye, for your kindness to my daughter. I'm afraid she would have had no holiday if you had not invited her.
Not at all. Very nice of her to come and attract young people to the house for us.
Oh, I'm afraid Ellie is not interested in young men, Mrs. Hushabye. Her taste is on the graver, solider side.
Won't you take off your overcoat, Mr. Dunn? You will find a cupboard for coats and hats and things in the corner of the hall.
Yes, thank you. I had better.
The old brute. Who? Him, he, it. Grave a solider taste, indeed.
You don't mean to say that you were speaking like that of my father.
I was? You know I was. I'll give that born soldier of freedom a piece of my mind that'll stand him on his selfish old head for a week.
Simon, my father's selfish. How little you know.
Ellie, Mangan has come. I thought you'd like to know. Excuse me, Mrs. Hushabye. The strange old gentleman.
Papa, quite so.
Oh, I beg your pardon. Of course. I was a little confused by his manner. He's making Mangan help him with something in the garden. He wants me too.
On the double! On the double! Bosun ahoy!
Dear, I believe he's whistling for me.
Now, my father is a wonderful man, if you like.
Simon, listen to me. You don't understand. My father and Mr. Mangan were boys together. Mr.
I don't
Mangan...
care what they were. We must sit down if you're going to begin as far back as all that. Now, Pettykins, tell me all about Mr. Mangan. They call him Boss Mangan, don't they? He's a Napoleon of industry and disgustingly rich, isn't he? Why isn't your father rich?
My poor father should never have been in business. He always used to say that he could succeed if he only had some capital. Well, he fought his way along to keep a roof over our heads and to bring us up well, but it was always a struggle. At last it seemed that all our troubles were at an end. Mr. Mangan asked my father how much capital he wanted and gave it to him.
On condition that you married him.
Oh, no, this was when I was a child.
Then why aren't you rolling in money?
I don't know. It seems very unfair to me. You see, my father was made bankrupt. It nearly broke his heart. I don't know what we should have done but for Mr. Mangan.
What? Did the boss come to the rescue again?
He did indeed, and never uttered a reproach to my father. Then Mr. Mangan started a company to take up the business, and he made my father a manager in it to save us from starvation. You see, I wasn't earning anything then.
Quite a romance. And when did the boss develop the tender passion?
Oh, that was years after. Quite lately, he took the chair one night at a sort of people's concert. I was singing there as an amateur. Of course, it was considered a great chance for me as he's so rich, and, well, we drifted into a sort of understanding. I suppose I should call it an engagement.
Yes, well, you may have drifted into it, but you will bounce out of it, my pettykins, if I am to have anything to do with it.
No, it's no use. I'm bound in honor and gratitude. I will go through with it.
You know, of course, it is not honorable or grateful to marry a man you don't love. Do you love this Mangan man?
I like Mr. Mangan very much, and I shall always
Be very grateful to him for his kindness to dear father, I know. Anybody else?
Of course not.
Quite sure you're not in love with an actor?
No, what put such a thing into your head?
Well, this is yours, isn't it? Why else would you be reading Othello?
My father taught me to love Shakespeare.
Oh, really? Your father does seem to be about the limit.
You never read Shakespeare, Simon. It seems to me so extraordinary. I like Othello.
Oh, do you indeed? He was jealous, wasn't he?
Oh, not that part. Don't you think it must have been a wonderful experience for Desdemona? Brought up so quietly at home. To meet a man who'd been out in the world doing all sorts of brave things and having terrible adventures, and yet finding something in her that made him love to sit and talk with her.
Ellie, darling, have you ever noticed that some of the things Othello told Desdemona couldn't have happened?
Simon, there are men who've done wonderful things. Men like Othello. Oh, only, of course, white and very handsome.
Ah, now we are coming to it. Tell me all about him. Oh, I knew there must be something.
Oh, Simon, you are dreadful. But I don't want to make a secret of it. Besides, I don't know him.
You don't know him? Well, what does that mean?
I mean that he does not call on us. I got into conversation with him by chance at a concert.
You seem to have rather a gay time at your concert, Ellie.
Not at all. We talked to everyone in the green room waiting for our turns. I thought he was one of the artists. He looked so splendid. But he was only one of the committee.
May I ask his name?
Marcus Darnley.
Marcus Darnley. Oh, what a splendid name. Is he one of the Aberdeen Darnleys?
Nobody knows. Just fancy, he was found in an antique chest.
What?
An antique chest. One summer morning in a rose garden after a night of the most terrible thunderstorm.
What on earth was he doing in the chest? Did he get into it because he was afraid of the lightning?
No. He was a baby.
Oh.
The name Marcus Darnley was embroidered on his baby clothes in 500 pounds in gold.
Really?
His life has been one long romance. A tiger.
Slain by his own hand?
Oh, no, nothing vulgar like that. He saved the life of the tiger from a hunting party, one of King Edward's hunting parties in India. The king was furious. That was why he never had his military services properly recognized, but he doesn't care. He's a socialist and despises rank and has been in 3 revolutions fighting on the barricades.
How can you sit there telling me such lies, you, Ellie, of all people? And I thought you were a perfectly simple, straightforward, good girl.
I, Simon, I'm very sorry, but I can't stay if you think that way about me.
No. You shan't go. I couldn't be so mistaken. I know too well what liars are like. Somebody has really told you all.
Don't say that you don't believe him, Miss Ivey. I couldn't bear it.
Oh, of course I believe him, dearest. But you should have broken it to me by degrees. Are you in love with him?
No, I'm not so foolish. I don't fall in love with people. I'm not so silly as you think.
I see. Only something that gives an interest and pleasure to life. Just something to think about.
So that's all, really.
Makes the hours go fast, doesn't it? No more tedious waiting to go to sleep at nights and wondering whether you'll have a bad night.
That's so
Hermione, you are a witch. How do you know? Oh, you're the most sympathetic woman in the world. Oh, my pettykins, my pettykins, how I envy you. Oh, now I pity you. Pity me? Oh, why? Oh, Hermione. This is Mr. Marcus Darnley. What a lark! He is my husband. Steady, my pettykins.
My real name, Miss Dunn, is Hector Hushabye. I never use it when I can possibly help it. I have been away for nearly a month, and I had no idea you knew my wife, or that you were coming here. I am nonetheless delighted to find you in our little house.
I don't know what to do. Please, may I speak to Papa? Don't leave me. I can't bear it.
Be off, Hector.
Quick, quick, get out.
Well, if you think it better.
Now, pettykins, he's gone. There's no one but me, so don't try and control yourself. Let yourself go. Have a good cry. Damn! Oh, splendid. Oh, what a relief. I thought you were going to be broken-hearted. Never mind me. Damn him again. I'm not damning him. I'm damning myself for being such a fool. How could I let myself be taken in so? Oh, why not, pettykins? Very few young women can resist Hector. I couldn't when I was your age. He really is rather splendid, you know. Splendid, yes, splendid looking, of course. But how can you love a liar? I don't know. But you can, fortunately. Otherwise, there wouldn't be much love in the world. To lie like that, to be a boaster, a coward. Pettykins, none of that, if you please. If you hint the slightest doubt of Hector's courage, he'll go straight off and do the most horribly dangerous thing, just to convince himself that he isn't a coward. Do you mean that he is really brave and really has adventures and yet tells lies about things that he never did and that never happened? Yes, Pettykins, I do. People don't have their virtues and vices in sets. They have them all. Anyhow, oh, mixed. There's something odd about this house, Hermione. And even about you. I don't know why I'm talking to you so calmly. I have a horrible fear that my heart is broken. That heartbreak is not what I thought it must be. It's only life. Educating you, Pettykins. I think I hear Hector coming back. You don't mind now, do you, dear? Not in the least. I'm quite cured.
1 second more and she would have been a dead woman.
Dear, what an escape.
Yes.
Ellie, my love, Mr. Hushabye has just been telling me the most extraordinary...
Yes, I've heard it.
No, not this one. I'll tell it to you after dinner. I think you'll like it. The truth is I made it up for you and was looking forward to the pleasure of telling it to you, but in a moment of impatience at being turned out of the room, I threw it away on your father.
It was not thrown away. He believes it. I should not have believed it.
Says his name is Mangum, not able-bodied.
How do you do, Mr. Mangum?
I'm very pleased.
Dunn's lost his muscle, but recovered his nerve. I'm surprised. Men seldom do after 3 attacks of delirium tremens.
I congratulate you, Mr. Dunn.
I am a lifelong teetotaler.
I don't believe you've met my husband, Mr. Mangum.
Ah, very pleased.
How do you do?
I hope, Miss Ellie, you have not found the journey down too fatiguing.
Oh, Hector, show Mr. Dunn his room.
Certainly. Come along, Mr. Dunn.
Son, you haven't shown me my room yet.
Oh, of course. Has to be. Come on. Make yourself quite at home, Mr. Mangum. Papa will entertain you. Papa! Come and explain the house to Mr. Mangum.
marry Dunn's daughter. Don't. You're too old.
Well, that's fairly blunt, Captain.
That's true.
She doesn't think so.
She does.
Older men than I have
Made fools of themselves, that also is true.
Well, I don't see where this is any business of yours.
It's everybody's business. The stars in their courses are shaken when such things happen.
Well, I'm going to marry her all the same.
How do you know?
I intend to. I mean to, see? I never made up my mind to do a thing yet that I didn't bring it off. That's the sort of man I am. And there'll be a better understanding between us when you make up your mind to that, Captain.
You frequent picture palaces.
Well, perhaps I do. Who told you?
Well, talk like a man, not like a movie. You mean that you make 100,000 a year, eh?
Oh, I don't boast. But when I meet a man that makes 100,000 a year, I take off my hat to that man and stretch out my hand to him and call him brother.
So you also make 100,000 a year, eh?
Oh, I can't say that. 50,000, perhaps.
Oh, he's half brother only.
Now, see here, Captain Shotover. I don't quite understand my position here. I came here at your daughter's invitation. Am I in her house or in yours?
You're under the dome of heaven in the house of God. What is true within these walls is true outside them. Go out on the sea, climb the mountains, wander through the valleys. She's still too young.
But I'm very little over 50.
You're still less, under 60. Ross Mangan, you will not marry the pirate's child.
What pirate's child? What are you talking about?
Emmy Dunn, you will not marry her.
Well, who will stop me?
My daughter.
But Mrs. Hushabye, do you mean to say she brought me down here to break it off?
I only know what I've seen in her eye. She will break it off. Take my advice. Marry a West Indian negress. They make excellent wives. I was married to one myself for 2 years.
Well, I am damned.
I thought so. I was too for many years. The negress redeemed me.
Well, this is queer. I ought to walk out of this house.
Why?
Well, many men would be offended by your style of talking.
Nonsense. It's the other kind of talking that makes quarrels. Nobody ever quarrels with me.
Excuse my intruding in this fashion, but there is no knocker on the door, and the bell does not seem to ring.
Well, why should there be a knocker? Why should the bell ring? The door was open.
Precisely, so I ventured to come in.
All right. I'll find another room for you.
But I'm afraid you don't know who I am.
Do you believe at my age I make distinctions between one fellow creature and another? Strange character, Captain Shotover, sir.
Very.
Now, you know, a person turned up and wants a room, man about town, well-dressed, 50.
Fancy a sign his feelings. May I ask, are you a member of the family?
No.
I am. At least a connection.
How do you do? How good of you to come.
I am very glad indeed to make your acquaintance, Society. You will excuse my kissing your daughter, Captain, when I tell
No,
you that
stop! Everybody kisses my daughter. You can kiss her as much as you like.
Thank you. Captain, do you happen to remember, but probably you don't, this had occurred many years ago, that your younger daughter married a numbskull?
Yes. She said she'd marry anyone to get away from home. I shouldn't have recognized you. Your head is no longer like a walnut. Your aspect has softened. You've been boiled in bread and milk for years and years and years. Like other married men. Oh, poor devil.
I don't believe you are Hastings Utterword.
I am not.
Then what business had you to kiss me?
I thought I would like to. The fact is, I am Randall Utterword, the unworthy younger brother of Hastings. I was abroad, diplomatizing when he was married.
Oh, wardrobe and I wrote my diamonds are in my dressing bag. I must lock it up.
Randall, how dare you?
How dare I what? I'm not doing anything.
Who told you I was here?
Hastings, you just left when I called on you at Claridge's, so I followed you down here.
What is wrong with Mr. Randall, Aggie?
Nothing. But he has no right to come bothering you and Papa without being invited.
I don't believe you have met Mr. Langdon, Aggie.
I beg your pardon.
Pleased to meet you.
Randall, you flustered me so I made a perfect fool of myself.
My sister, Lady Utterword, my younger sister.
Who is gentleman walking in the garden with Miss Dunn?
It must be a visitor. Oh, no, it's Hector. They've made it up.
Your husband, that handsome man?
Well, why shouldn't my husband be a handsome man?
One's husband never is, Ariadne.
Yes, but one's sister's husband always is, Mr. Randall.
Don't be vulgar, Randall, and you, Miss Ivey, are just as bad.
Hector? Hector? This is Addie.
Not this lady.
Why not?
But I thought... I beg your pardon. Lady Utterword, I am extremely glad to welcome you at last under our roof.
She wants to be kissed, Hector.
Fine.
Oh, go on. Call her Addie and kiss her like a good brother-in-law, and I'm done with it.
Behave yourself, Society. Lady Utterword is entitled not only to hospitality, but to civilization.
Thank you, Hector.
Your father's washed himself.
He often does, Captain Shotover.
Oh, it's a strange conversion. I can see him through the porthole.
Oh, Mr. Mazzini down. Lady Ut. Oh, I forgot you've met Miss Dunn.
Yes, I met Miss Dunn also. She's my
Oh,
daughter.
of course, how sweet of me. Mr. Randall Utterwood, my sister's old
Brother-in-law, Mr. Dunn. How do you do?
And this is my husband.
We have met. Don't introduce us any more, dear. Won't you sit down, Lady Utterword?
Oh, sorry, I hate it. It's like making people show their tickets.
And how little it tells us after all. The great question is not who we are, but what we are.
Ah! And what are you?
What am I?
A thief, a pirate, and a murderer.
I assure you, you are mistaken.
An adventurous life, but how did it end? Respectability. A ladylike daughter, the language and appearance of a city missionary. Let that be a lesson to all of you. Oh, what a lesson.
I hope nobody believes that I am a thief, a pirate, and a murderer. Excuse me, Mrs. Hushabye, I really must go and explain.
No, but it's no use. You really had better. We better all go out and look for some tea. We never have regular tea, but you can always find some when you want. The servants keep it stewing all day. The kitchen veranda is the best place to ask. May I show you?
Thank you. I don't think I'll take any tea this afternoon. But if you will show me the garden.
Oh, but there's nothing to see in the garden, except Papa's observatory and a gravel pit where he keeps dynamite and things of that sort. However, it is pleasanter out of doors, so come along.
Dynamite? Isn't that rather risky?
Well, we don't sit in the gravel pit when there's a thunderstorm.
That's something new. What is the dynamite for?
To blow up the human race if it goes too far. He is trying to invent a psychic ray that would explode all the explosives at the will of a Mahatma. Won't you come, Miss Ellie?
I'm too tired. I'll take a book up to my room and rest a little.
Right. You can't do better. But I'm disappointed.
Do you like stories of adventure, Lady Utterworth?
Of course, dear.
Then I'll leave you to Mr. Hushabye.
That girl is mad for tales of adventure. The lies I have to tell her.
When you saw me, what did you mean by saying that you thought and then stopping short? What did you think?
May I tell you?
Of course.
It will not sound very civil. I was on the point of saying I thought you were a plain woman.
For shame, Hector. What right had you to notice whether I'm plain or not?
Listen to me, Ariadne. Till today, I have seen only photographs of you. And no photograph can give the strange fascination of the daughters of that supernatural old man. There is some damnable quality in them that destroys men's moral sense and carries them beyond honor and dishonor. You know that, don't you?
Perhaps I do, Hector. But I should warn you once for all that I'm a rigidly conventional woman. You may think because I'm a Shotover that I'm a bohemian, because we're all so horribly bohemian, but I'm not. I hate and loathe bohemianism.
You are no bohemian, but you are no Puritan either. Your attraction is alive and powerful. What sort of woman do you count yourself?
I am a woman of the world, Hector. And I can assure you, if you will only take the trouble always to do the perfectly correct thing and say the perfectly correct thing, you can do just what you like. An ill-conducted, careless woman gets simply no chance. An ill-conducted, careless man is never allowed within arm's length of any woman worth knowing.
I see. You are neither a bohemian woman nor a Puritan woman. You are a dangerous woman.
On the contrary, I am a safe woman.
You are an accursedly attractive woman. Mind, I am not making love to you. I do not like being attracted. But you had better know how I feel if you are going to stay here.
You are an exceedingly clever lady killer, Hector. And terribly handsome. I'm quite a good player myself at that game. Is it quite understood that we're only playing?
Quite.
Well, you are my brother-in-law. Hesione asked you to kiss me. That was a little more than play, brother-in-law. We shall not do that again.
In effect, you got your claws deeper into me than I intended.
Don't let me disturb you. I only want a cap to put on Daddy as the sun is setting and he'll catch cold. Your husband is quite charming, darling. He's actually condescended to kiss me at last. I shall go into the garden. It's cooler now. Take care, dear child. I don't believe any man can kiss Abby without falling in love with her.
Oh! Goat! Your sister is an extremely enterprising old girl. Where's this done?
Mangan says she's gone upstairs to her room for a nap. Daddy won't let you talk to Ellie. She's marked you for her own.
What am I to do? I get landed in all sorts of tedious and terrifying flirtations in which I'm not a bit interested.
No, neither is Abby. No, she's never been in love in her life. Though she's always been trying to fall in, head over ears. She's worse than you, because you had one real go, at least, with me.
That was a confounded madness. It has left its mark on me. I believe that is why I have never been able to repeat it.
We were frightfully in love with one another, Hector. Oh, it was such an enchanting dream that I've never been able to grudge it to you or to anyone else since. I've invited all sorts of pretty women to the house on the chance of giving you another turn, and it's never come off.
I don't know that I wanted to come off. It was damn dangerous. I mean, you fascinated me, but I loved you, so it was heaven. This sister of yours fascinates me, but I hate her, so it is hell. I shall kill her if she persists.
Nothing will kill Abby. She's as strong as a horse. Now, I must go off and fascinate somebody.
Far enough, it's tough, Randall.
Oh, good heavens. Why should I fascinate him?
Well, I presume you don't mean the bloated capitalist, Mangan.
I think he had better be fascinated by me than by Ellie. Oh, what have you got there, Daddy?
Dynamite.
Oh, you've been to the gravel pit again. Now, don't drop it about the house. There's a dear.
Listen, Osage. How long dare one concentrate on a feeling without risking having it fixed in one's consciousness all the rest of one's life?
90 minutes. No.
Do you love me?
No. That kind of strength's no good. You'll never be as strong as a gorilla.
What is the dynamite for?
To kill fellows like Mangan.
There's no use. They will always be able to buy more dynamite than you.
I will make a dynamite he cannot explode.
And that you can, eh?
Yes. When I have attained the 7th degree of concentration.
Well, what's the good of that? You never do attain it.
What then is to be done? Are we to be kept forever in the mud by these hogs? For whom the universe is nothing but a machine for greasing their bristles and filling their snouts.
And who are we that we should judge them?
Who are they that they should judge us? Yet they do, unhesitatingly. They believe in themselves. When we believe in ourselves, we will kill them.
I tell you, I have often thought of this killing of human vermin. Give me the power to kill them, and I'll spare them in sheer
Fellow feeling?
No. I should kill myself if I believed that. No, I should spare them in simple magnanimous pity.
You cannot spare them until you have the power to kill them. At the moment, they have the power to kill you. But I'd go on with the dynamite nonetheless. I will invent a ray mightier than any X-ray. A mind ray, which explodes the ammunition in the belt of my adversary before he has time to point his gun at me. Oh, I must hurry. I can't waste time in talk.
Thaddeus, you and Hector must come and help me entertain all these people. What on earth are you shouting about?
He is madder than usual.
We all are.
I must change.
Stop. Stop. Come back. Come back, both of you. Come back. Money is running short.
Money? Where are my April dividends?
Where are the snows that fell last year?
What happened to the money for that patent lifeboat I invented?
£500, and I have made it last since Easter.
Since Easter? 4 months? Monstrous extravagance. I could live for 7 years on £500.
Not keeping open house as we do here, Daddy.
Only £500 for that lifeboat? I got 12,000 for the invention before that.
Living at the rate we do, you cannot afford life-saving inventions. Can't you think of something that will murder half Europe at one bang?
No, I'm aging fast. My mind doesn't dwell on slaughter as it did when I was a boy. Why doesn't your husband invent something? He does nothing but tell lies to women.
Well, that is a form of invention, is it not? However, you are right. I ought to support my wife.
Indeed, you shall do nothing of the sort. I should never see you from breakfast to dinner. I want my husband.
I might as well be your lapdog.
Do you want to be my breadwinner like all the other poor husbands?
No, by thunder. What a damned creature a husband is anyhow.
Now, we must go back to all these dreadful people and entertain them.
I've had no dinner, remember that?
Neither have I. It's getting dark. It must be all ours.
Oh, Guinness will provide some sort of dinner for them. The servants always take jolly good care there's food in the house.
Oh, what a house. What a daughter.
What a father.
What a husband.
Is there no thunder in heaven?
Is there no beauty, no bravery on earth?
What do men want? They have their food, their firesides, their clothes mended, and our love at the end of the day. Why are they not satisfied? Why do they envy us the pain with which we bring them into the world and make strange dangers and torments for themselves to be even with us?
I builded a house for my daughters. I opened the doors thereof, that men should come for their choosing, and their betters spring from their love. But one of them married a numbskull,
The other a liar wed.
And now must she lie beside him, even as she made her bed.
The cat is on the tiles.
Coming, darling.
Shall I turn up the lights for you?
No. Give me deeper darkness. Money is not made in the light.
What a dinner. I don't call it a dinner, I call it a meal.
I'm accustomed to meals, Mr. Mangan, and very lucky to get them. Besides, the captain cooks a macaroni for me.
Oh, too rich. No, I can't eat such things. I suppose it's because I have to work so much with my brain. Now, that's the worst of being a man of business. You're always thinking. But by the way, but now that we're alone, may I take the opportunity to come to a little understanding with you?
Certainly, I should like to.
Oh, well, should you? That surprises me. For I thought I noticed this afternoon that you avoided me all that you could. Not for the first time, either.
I was very tired and upset. I wasn't used to the ways of this extraordinary house. Please forgive me.
Oh, it's all right. I don't mind. But, Captain Shotover has been talking to me about you. You and me, you know.
Captain, what did he say?
Well, he noticed the difference between our ages.
He notices everything.
Well, you don't mind, then?
Of course, I know quite well that our engagement isn't exactly...
Oh, you call it an engagement?
Well, isn't it?
Oh, yes. No doubt it is if you hold to it. Now, this is the first time you've used the word, and, well, I didn't quite know where we stood, that's all. You were saying...
Was I? I forget. Tell me, do you like this part of the country? I heard you ask Mr. Hushabye at dinner whether there are any nice houses to let down here.
Oh, yes, I like the place. The air suits me. Well, I shouldn't be surprised if I settled down here.
Nothing would please me better. The air suits me too, and I want to be near Hesione.
Well, the air may suit us, but now the question is, should we suit one another? Have you thought about that?
Mr. Mangan, we must be sensible, mustn't we? It's no use pretending that we are Romeo and Juliet. But we can get on very well together if we choose to make the best of it. Your kindness of heart will make it easy for me.
Now, look here, Miss Ellie, I've got to put you wise about this so-called kindness of heart of mine. Look, I ruined your father, didn't I?
Oh, not intentionally.
Yes, I did. Ruined him on purpose.
Are you trying to make me feel that I need not be grateful so that I may choose freely?
No, I mean what I say.
How could it possibly do you any good to ruin my father? The money he lost was yours.
Was mine. It is mine, Miss Ellie. And all the money the other fellas lost, too. I just smoked them out like a hive of bees. What do you say to that? Bit of a shock, eh?
How strange. That my mother, who knew nothing at all about business, should have been quite right about you. She always used to say, not before Papa, of course, but to his children, that you were just that sort of man.
Oh, did she? And yet she'd have let you marry me.
Well, you see, Mr. Mangan, my mother married a very good man. For whatever you may think of my father as a man of business, he is the soul of goodness, and she's not at all keen on my doing the same.
Well, anyway, you don't want to marry me now, do you?
Oh, I think so. Why not?
Well, why not?
I don't see why we shouldn't get on very well together.
Well, I thought you were rather particular about people's characters.
If we women were particular about men's characters, we should never get married at all, Mr. Mangan.
A child like you talking of we women, what next? Well, not in earnest.
Yes, I am, aren't you?
Suppose I told you I was in love with another woman.
Suppose I told you I was in love with another man.
No, I'm not joking.
Who told you I was?
No, I tell you, I am serious. Now, you're too young to be serious, but you've got to believe me. I want to be near your friend, Mrs. Hushabye. Well, I'm in love with her. Well, now the murder's out.
I want to be near your friend, Mr. Hushabye. I'm in love with him. Now we are in one another's confidence. We shall be real friends. Thank you for telling me.
But do you think I'll be made a convenience of like this?
Come, Mr. Mangan, you made a business convenience of my father. Well, a woman's business is marriage. Why shouldn't I make a domestic convenience of you?
Because I don't choose, see? Because I am not a silly gull like your father, that's why.
You are not good enough to clean my father's boots, Mr. Mangan. And I am paying you a great compliment in condescending to make a convenience of you, as you call it. Of course, you are free to throw over our engagement if you like. But if you do, you'll never enter Hesione's house again. I will take care of that.
Oh, you little devil. You've done me. Wait a minute, though. You're not so cute as you think. You can't be Boss Mangan as easy as that. What if I go straight to Mrs. Hushabye and tell her that you're in love with her husband?
She knows it.
You told her?
She told me.
Oh, now, this is a crazy house. Well, if I'm going clean out of my child. Well, you're making a swap with her? What, she's to have your husband and you to have her?
Well, you don't want us both, do you?
Oh, come on. My head is going to split. My brain won't stand this. Why, it's going to split. Oh, my God. Oh, please, come, save me. Hold it and squeeze it. Save me. Help me. Oh, God. Oh, God. Oh, thank you. Oh, God. Oh. Well, that's very refreshing. Well, now, don't you hypnotize me, though. I've seen men made fools of by hypnotism.
Quite. I've seen men made fools of without hypnotism.
You don't dislike touching me, I hope. You never touched me before until this.
Hush, go to sleep. Do you hear? You are to go to sleep at once. Go to sleep. Go to sleep. Be quiet. Deeply, deeply quiet. Sleep. Sleep. Sleep.
Mr. Mangan's not here, Ducky. There's no one here. It's all dark.
Try the garden. Mr. Dunn and I will be in my boudoir. Show him the way.
Yes, Ducky. Oh, my Lord, sir. Beg pardon, I'm sure. I didn't see you in the dark. Who is it? Oh, Mr. Mangan. I hope I haven't hurt you, plumping into your lap like that. Oh, my good Lord. Oh, I hope I haven't killed him. Sir? Mr. Mangan, sir. Oh, Miss Bessie! Miss Bessie, quick! Dirty darling! Oh, it's Mr. Mangan! I've been and killed him. Oh, what tempted you to commit such a crime, woman?
You mean to say you did it on purpose?
Well, no, Mrs. Lockley, I'd kill any man on purpose. I fell over it in the dark, and I'm a pretty tiny mate. He never spoke the word, and I shook him, and then he would have dropped dead on the floor. Isn't it tiresome?
No, he's not dead. He's only asleep. I can see him breathing.
Oh, why won't he wake?
Mangan, cuckoo.
No, that's no good. Mr. Mangan, wake up. Do you hear? Oh, no.
Would he be drunk, do you think, Pep?
Oh, I did him for Papa's rum.
No, it can't be that. He's most abstemious. Mrs. Hushabye, I really think he's been hypnotized.
Into what, sir?
Yes, one evening at home, after we'd seen a hypnotizing performance, the children began playing at it. Ellie stroked my head. I assure you, I fell off dead asleep.
No, darling, go and ask Miss Dunn to come to us here. I want to speak to her particularly. You will find her with Mr. Hushabye, probably.
Oh, I think not, Ducky. Miss Addy is with him.
Oh.
Come in. I'll find her and send it to you.
Now, Mrs. Dunn, look. Just look hard. Do you still intend to sacrifice your daughter to that thing?
But what is your objection to poor Mangan, Mrs. Hushabye? He looks all right to me.
No! Have you no heart? Have you no sense? Look at the brute! A man who spent his life making thousands of rough, violent workmen bend to his will and sweat for him? A man accustomed to having great masses of iron beaten into shape for him with steam hammers.
But he doesn't know anything about machinery. He never goes near the men. He couldn't manage them. He's afraid of them.
Then who manages his business, Fred?
I do. And, of course, other people like me.
Fruitling people, you mean?
I suppose you would think us so.
Oh, what on earth is the matter with you? Why don't you inspire everybody with confidence, with respect?
I think what is the matter with me is that I am poor. You can't know what that means at home. Oh, mind, I don't say they've ever complained. They've all been wonderful. They've been proud of my poverty. They've even joked about it quite often. But my wife has had a very poor time of it. She's been quite resigned.
Oh.
Now, there, you see, Mrs. Hushabye, I don't want Ellie to live on resignation.
Yes, but do you want her to have to resign herself to living with a man she doesn't love?
Are you sure that would be worse than living with a man she did love if he was a footling person?
You know, I think you must love Ellie very much. For you become quite clever when you talk about her.
I didn't know I was so very stupid on other subjects.
You are, sometimes.
Well,
Have I been a bee?
it doesn't matter about me, Mrs. Hushabye. I think you like Ellie. That's enough for me.
I'm beginning to like you just a little. I perfectly loathed you at first. I thought you the most odious, self-satisfied, boresome elderly prig I'd ever met.
Oh, I dare say I am all that. I never have been a favorite with gorgeous women like you. They always frighten me.
Am I a gorgeous woman, that Phoebe? I shall fall in love with you presently.
No, you won't, Hermione. But you will be quite safe. Would you believe it that quite a lot of women have flirted with me because I am quite safe? They get tired of me for the same reason.
Take care. You may not be as safe as you think.
Oh, yes, quite safe. You see, I have been in love. Really. The kind of love that only happens once. That's why Ellie is such a lovely girl.
Well, you are coming out. Are you sure you won't let me tempt you into a second grand passion?
Quite sure. It wouldn't be natural. The fact is, you don't strike on my box, Mrs. Hushabye, and I certainly don't strike on yours.
Your marriage was a safety match.
What a very witty application of the expression I used. I should never have thought of it.
Oh, here comes Ellie at last.
Tina said you wanted me, you and Papa.
Oh, you kept us waiting so long, it almost came to a well, never mind. Your father is a very wonderful man, the only man who's ever resisted me when I made myself really agreeable. Come here, I have something to show you, look.
Oh, no. He's only asleep. We had a talk after dinner. He fell asleep in the middle of it.
Yes, you did it, Ellie. You put him to sleep.
Oh, I hope not. Did you, Ellie?
Oh, I dare say I can wake him, if not somebody else can.
Well, it doesn't matter anyway, because I have at last persuaded your father that you don't want to marry him.
But I do want to marry him. Arthur Siley knows nothing about me. She hasn't the least notion of the sort of person I am and never will. I promise you I won't do anything I don't want to do or mean to do for my own sake.
You're quite sure.
Quite sure. Now, you must go away and leave me to talk to Mrs. Hushabye.
Oh, shall I be in the way? I should like to hear.
I'd rather talk to her alone.
Oh, well, I know what a nuisance parents are, my dear. I will be good and go. I do hope he'll wake up in the course of the night.
Siley, what the devil do you mean by making mischief with my father about Mangan? Don't you dare speak to me like that, you little minx. Remember, you are in my house. Stuff. Why don't you mind your own business? What is it to you whether I marry Mangan or not? Do you suppose you can bully me? You miserable little matrimonial adventurer.
Every woman who hasn't any money is a matrimonial adventurer. It's easy for you to talk. You've never known what it is to want money. And you can pick up men as if they were daisies. I am poor and respectable. Respectable? How did you pick up Mangan? How did you pick up my husband? You have the audacity to tell me that I'm a siren. So you are. You were born to lead men by the nose. If you weren't, Marcus would have waited for me, perhaps.
Oh, my poor Ellie. Oh, my pettykins. Oh, my unhappy darling. I'm so sorry about Hector. But what can I do? It's not my fault. I would give him to you if I could.
I don't blame you for that.
Oh, what a brute I was to quarrel with you and call you names. Oh, do kiss me and tell me you're not angry with me.
Don't slop and gush and be sentimental. Don't you see that unless I can be hard as nails, I shall go mad? I don't care a damn about your calling me names. Do you think a woman in my situation can feel a few hard words?
Poor little woman. Poor little situation.
I suppose you think you're being sympathetic. Well, you're just foolish and stupid and selfish. You see me getting a smasher right across the face that kills a whole part of my life. The best part that can never come again. And you think you can help me over it with a little coaxing and kissing. When I want all the strength I can get to lean on. Something iron, something stony. I don't care how cruel it is. You go all mushy and want to slobber over me.
Very well. But I warn you that when I am neither coaxing and kissing nor laughing, I'm just wondering how much longer I can stand living in this cruel, damnable world. You object to the siren. Well, I drop the siren. You want to rest your wounded bosom against a grindstone? Well, is the grindstone.
That's better. You really have a trick of falling in with everyone's mood. But you don't understand. Because you're not the sort of woman for whom there is only one man and only one chance.
I certainly don't understand why you're marrying that object. We'll console you for not being able to marry Hector.
If I can't have love, that's no reason why I should have poverty. If Mangan has nothing else, he has money.
He will be your owner, remember. If he buys you, he will make the bargain pay him, and not you. Ask your father.
You need not trouble on that score, Hosseini. I have more to give Boss Mangan than he has to give me. It is I who am buying him, and at a pretty good price, too, I think. Women are better at that sort of bargain than men. So I'd have to spend most of my life wondering how long my gloves will last, anyhow.
Ellie, you are a wicked, sordid little beast. And to think that I actually condescended to fascinate that creature there to save you from him. Well, let me tell you this. If you make this disgusting match, you will never see Hector again if I can help it.
I should have made a man of Marcus, not a household pet.
You dare.
Set him thinking about me if you dare.
What would you say if I were to box your ears?
I should pull your hair.
It wouldn't hurt me. Perhaps it comes off at night.
Oh, you don't mean to say that your beautiful hair is false?
Oh, don't tell Hector. He believes in it.
Oh, even the hair that ensnared him false. Everything false.
Polish and try. Other women can snare men in their hair. I can swing a baby on mine. Aha! You can't do that.
No. You have stolen my babies.
Oh, pity me.
Don't make me cry.
You know what you said about my making a household pet of him. It's a little true. Perhaps he ought to have waited for you. Could any other woman on earth forgive you?
What right had you to take them all for yourself? Oh, there. You couldn't help it, he couldn't help it, neither of us could help it. Don't say anything more, I can't bear it. Let us wake the object. Wake up, do you hear? You ought to wake up at once. Wake up. Wake up. Wake up.
Wake up! Wake up! So you think I've been asleep? I heard every word you said, you and that precious father of yours. You too. So I'm an object, am I? I'm a thing, am I? I'm nothing but a disgusting old skinflint to be made a convenience of by designing women and fool managers of my works, am I?
Shush, Mr. Mangan, you are bound in honor to obliterate from your mind all that you heard while you were pretending to be asleep.
Pretending to be asleep? What do you think I would have sprawled there helpless and listened to such unfairness, such lies, such injustice, and plotting and backbiting and slandering?
Trapped it all, Mr. Mangan. We were only saying how beautifully peaceful you looked in your sleep. That was all, wasn't it, Ellie? Oh, believe me, Mr. Mangan, all those unpleasant thoughts came into your head the very last half-second before you woke. And it rubbed your head the wrong way. And the disagreeable sensation suggested a disagreeable dream.
Oh, I believe in dreams.
So do I, but they go by contraries, don't they?
I shan't forget to my dying day that when you gave me the glad-eye that time in the garden, that you were making a fool of me. Oh, that was a dirty, low-mean thing to do. But you should have never let me come near you if I disgusted you. Oh, there are some things that no decent woman would do to a man. Like a man hitting a woman in the breast.
Oh, don't call, I can't bear it. Have I broken your heart? I didn't know you had one. How could I?
I'm a man, ain't I?
Oh, no, not what I call a man. Only a boss just now to nothing. What business has a boss with a heart?
You're not the least bit sorry nor ashamed.
I was ashamed for the very first time in my life when you said that about hitting a woman in the breast and I found out what I'd done. My very bones blushed red. Oh, by the way, what's your name? It's not really boss.
Now, if you want to know, my name is Alfred.
Alfred, oh, Ellie. He was christened after Tennyson.
I was christened after my uncle. Never had a penny from him, damn it. What of
It
it?
comes to me suddenly that you are a real person. That you had a mother like anyone else. Little Alf.
You've got a nerve.
You have a heart, Alfie. A whimpery little one, but a real one. No, run and make it up, really. She's had time to think what to say to you, but she's more than I have.
That woman has a pair of hands that go right through you.
Still in love with her in spite of all we said about you.
All women like you, too. Do they never think of anything about a man except what they can get out of him? But you weren't even thinking that about me. You were only thinking whether your gloves would last.
I shall not have to think about that when we are married.
Well, now, you think I'm going to marry you after what I heard in there?
You heard nothing from me that I did not tell you before.
Well, I suppose you think I can't get along without you, huh?
I think you'd feel lonely without us all now, after coming to know us so well.
Oh, am I never to have the last word?
Oh, there's a soul in torment here. What's the matter?
Well, this girl doesn't want to spend her life wondering how long her gloves will last.
You don't wear any. I never do.
Is anything the matter? This gentleman wants to know is he never to have the last word.
Well, I should let him have it, my dear. The important thing is not to have the last word, but to have your own way.
She wants both.
She won't get them, Mr. Mangan. Providence always has the last word.
Well, now you're going to come religion over here. In this house, a man's mind might as well be a football. I'm going.
Oh, whither away, Boss Mangan?
To hell away from this house. Let that be enough for you and all here.
Well, you're welcome to come. You are free to go. The wide earth, the high seas are waiting for you outside.
No, Mr. Mangan, your bags, your comb and brushes, your pajamas.
Why should the escaping slave take his chains with him? That's right, Hushabye. Keep the pajamas, my lady, and much good may they do you. Let us all go off into the night and leave everything behind. Stay where you are. I want no company, especially female company.
Let him go. He's unhappy here. He's angry with us.
Go, Boss Mangan. When you find a land where there is happiness and where there are no women, send me the latitude and longitude and I'll join you there.
You will certainly not be comfortable without your luggage, Mr. Mangan.
Go. Why don't you go? It's a heavenly night. You can sleep on the heath. Take my waterproof to lie on. It's hanging up in the hall.
Breakfast at 9, unless you prefer to breakfast with the captain at 6.
Good night, Alfred.
Alfred? Randall! His Christian name is Alfred.
Then society wins the bet.
They wouldn't believe me, Al.
Is any more of you coming to look at me like I was the latest thing in a menagerie?
You are the latest thing in this menagerie. Oh, would you like to take a walk on the heath, Al? With me?
Go, Mr. Mangan. It will do you good. Society will soothe you.
Come, Alfred. There is a moon. It is like the night in Tristan and Isolde.
How can you have the face?
The heart.
No way to behave. What is the matter with the man?
His heart is breaking, that is all. It is a curious sensation. A sort of pain that goes mercifully beyond our powers of feeling. When your heart is broken, your boats are burned. Nothing matters anymore. It is the end of happiness and the beginning of peace.
How dare you?
Good heavens, what's the matter?
Steady.
I was not about you particularly, Lady Utterwood. I'm not accustomed to being asked. How dare I?
Of course not. Anyone can see how badly you've been brought up.
Oh, I hope not, Lady Utterwood, really.
I know very well what you meant. The impudence.
What on earth do you mean?
She means that her heart will not break. She's been longing all her life for someone to break it. And now she's afraid she has none to break.
Oh, Papa. Don't say you think I have no heart.
If you had no heart, how could you want to have it broken, child?
Lady Utterword, you are not to be trusted. You have made a scene.
Oh. Hector. Hector.
Only nerves, I assure you.
How distressing. Can I do anything, I wonder?
No, go to bed.
Good night. I suppose you're right. Good night, my love. Good night.
Does nothing ever disturb you, Captain Shotover?
I've stood on the bridge for 18 hours in a typhoon. Life here is stormier, but I can stand it.
Do you think I ought to marry Mr. Mangan?
Well, one rock's as good as another to be wrecked on.
I'm not in love with him.
Who said you were?
You're not surprised?
Surprised at my age?
It seems to me quite fair. He wants me for one thing, I want him for another.
Money.
Yes.
Oh. One turns the cheek, the other kisses it. One provides the cash, the other spends it.
Who will have the best of the bargain, I wonder?
You. These fellows live in an office all day. You'll have to put up with him from dinner to breakfast, but you'll both be asleep most of that time. And all day you'll be quit of him, and you'll be shopping with his money. If that's too much for you, marry a seafaring man. You won't be bothered with him for more than 3 weeks a year, perhaps.
That would be best of all, I suppose.
Yes, it's dangerous to be married right up to the hilt like my daughter's husband. The man's at home all day like a damn soul in hell.
I never thought of that before.
No, but if you're marrying for business, you know, you can't be too businesslike.
Why do women always want other women's husbands?
Why do horse thieves prefer a horse that's broken in to one that's wild?
I suppose so. What a vile world it is.
So it doesn't concern me, because I'm nearly out of it.
And I'm only just beginning.
Yes. So look ahead.
I think I'm being very prudent.
I didn't say prudent. I said look ahead.
What's the difference?
It's prudent to gain the whole world and lose your own soul. But don't forget, your soul sticks to you if you stick to it. And the world has a way of slipping through your fingers.
Sorry, Captain Shotover, it's no use talking to me like that. Old-fashioned people are no use to me. Old-fashioned people think you can have a soul without money. They think the less money you have, the more soul you have. Young people nowadays know better. A soul is a very expensive thing to keep, much more so than a motor car.
Is it? How much does your soul eat?
Oh, a lot. It eats music and pictures and books and mountains and lakes and beautiful things to wear. In this country, you can't have those things without lots of money. That is why our souls are so horribly starved.
Mangan's soul lives on pig's food.
Yes, money is thrown away on him. I suppose his soul was starved when he was very young. But it will not be thrown away on me. It is just because I want to save my soul that I'm marrying for money. All women that are not fools do.
Well, there are other ways of getting money. Why don't you steal it?
Because I don't want to go to prison.
Is that the only reason? Are you quite sure that honesty has nothing to do with it?
Oh, you are very, very old-fashioned, Captain. Does any modern girl believe that the legal and illegal ways of getting money are the honest and dishonest ways? Mangan robbed my father and my father's friends. I should rob all the money back from him if the police would let me. As they won't, I must get it back by marrying him.
Oh, I can't argue. I'm too old. My mind is made up and finished. All I know is that old-fashioned or new-fashioned, if you sell yourself, you deal your soul a blow that all the books and pictures and concerts and scenery in the world won't heal.
I shall pretend to sell myself to Boss Mangan to save my soul from the poverty that is damning me by inches.
Riches will damn you 10 times deeper.
Old-fashioned again. I'm afraid you are no use to me, Captain.
And what did you expect? A savior, eh? Are you old-fashioned enough to believe in that?
No, but I thought you were very wise and might help me. Now I've found you out. You pretend to be busy and think of fine things to say and run in and out to surprise people by saying them and get away before they can answer you.
Well, it confuses me to be answered. It discourages me. I can't stand men and women. I have to get away. I'm going to get away now.
You shall not run away from me. I can hypnotize you. Now, you're the only person in this house I can say what I like.
No.
I know you are fond of me. Now, sit down.
Now, take care. I'm in my dotage. Old men are dangerous. doesn't matter to them what's going to happen to the world.
I should have thought nothing else mattered to old men. They can't be very interested in what is going to happen to themselves.
A man's interest in the world is only the overflow of the interest in himself. When you're a child, your vessel is not yet full, so you're interested only in your own little affairs. And when you grow up, your vessel overflows and you become a politician, philosopher, explorer, adventurer. In old age, your vessel dries up. There's no overflow, and you are a child again. Oh, I could give you memories of my ancient wisdom, mere scraps and leavings, but I really only care for my own little wants and hobbies. And I sit here working out my old ideas as a means of destroying my fellow creatures. And I see my daughters and their men leading foolish lives of romance and sentiment and snobbery. And I see you, the younger generation, turning from romance and sentiment and snobbery to money, comfort, and hard common sense. Oh, I was 10 times happier on the bridge in a typhoon, frozen into Arctic ice for months in darkness, than you or they have ever been. No, you're looking for a rich husband. At your age, I was looking for danger, hardship, horror, death, that I should feel the life in me more intensely. I did not let the fear of death govern my life. And my reward was, I had my life. You're going to let the fear of poverty govern your life. And your reward will be that you will eat, but you will not live.
But what can I do? I'm not a sea captain. I can't stand on bridges in typhoons or go slaughtering seals and whales in Greenland's icy mountains. They won't let women be sea captains. Do you want me to be a stewardess?
Well, there are worse lives. Stewardesses can go ashore when they wish, but they sail and sail and sail.
But what can they do ashore but marry for money? No, I don't want to be a stewardess. I'm too bad a sailor. Think of something else for me.
No, I can't think so long, continuously. I'm too old. I must go in and out.
You shall not. You are happy here, aren't you?
I tell you, it's dangerous to keep me here. I can't keep alert and awake.
What do you run away for? To sleep?
No. To get a glass of rum.
Is that it? How disgusting. You like being drunk.
No, I dread being drunk more than anything else in the world. To be drunk means to have dreams, to go soft, to be easily pleased and deceived, to fall into the clutches of women. Drink does that to you when you're young. When you're old, very, very old like me, the dreams come by themselves. You don't know how terrible that is. When you're young, you sleep at night and you sleep soundly, but later you will sleep in the afternoon. And later still you sleep even in the morning, and you're awake, tired of life. You'll never be free from dozing in dreams. Dreams will steal on your work every 10 minutes, unless you waken yourself with rum. I drink now to keep sober. But you know, rum's not what it was. The dreams are conquering. I've had 10 glasses since you came, and it might be so much water. Go get me another. Guinness knows where it is. You'll see for yourself the horror of an old man drinking.
You shall not drink. Dream. I like you to dream. You must never be in the real world when we talk together.
I'm too weary, too weak to resist. I'm in my second childhood. I feel nothing but this accursed happiness that I've been dreading all my life through. The happiness that comes as life goes. The happiness of dozing and dreaming instead of resisting and doing. The sweetness of the fruit that's going rotten.
You dread it almost as much as I used to dread losing my dreams and having to fight and do things. But all that is over for me now. My dreams are dashed to pieces. I should like to marry a very old, very rich man. I should like to marry you. I'd much rather marry you than marry a man getting very rich.
Oh, no. I'm living from hand to mouth. And I have a wife somewhere. In Jamaica. My first wife. A black one. Unless she's dead.
What a pity. I feel so happy here with you. I thought that I should never feel happy again.
Why?
Don't you know?
Huh?
Heartbreak. I fell in love with Hector and didn't know he was married.
Heartbreak. Are you one of those people who are so sufficient to themselves that they're only happy when they're stripped of everything? Even of hope.
Seems so. For I feel now as if there was nothing that I could not do, for I want nothing.
Oh, now that's real strength. That's genius. That's better than rum.
Rum? What did you spoil it for? Come, Captain. I want to talk to my father, and I think you'd better come with me.
I take it that we may be quite frank. I mean about Lady Utterword.
You may. I have nothing to be frank about. I never met her until this afternoon.
But you seem to be on intimate terms with her.
Well, so do you.
Yes, but I am on intimate terms with her. I've known her for years.
It has taken her years to get to the same point with you that she got to with me in 5 minutes, it seems.
Really, Ariadne is the limit.
She is, as I remarked to His Irony, a very enterprising woman.
You see, Hushabye, you are what women consider a good-looking man.
Yes, I cultivated that appearance in the days of my vanity, and His Irony insists on my keeping it up.
Yes.
She makes me wear these ridiculous things because she thinks me absurd in evening dress.
Still, you do keep it up, old chap. Now, I assure you, I have not an atom of jealousy in my disposition.
Now, the question would seem to be rather whether your brother has any touch of that sort.
Don't trouble about Hastings. As long as Ariadne takes care that he is fed regularly, he's only too thankful to anyone who will keep her in good humor for him.
And as she has all the shot of her fascination, there is plenty of competition for the job, eh?
She encourages them. She does nothing but make scenes from morning till night.
Do you suffer much from this jealousy?
Jealousy? Jealous? My dear fellow, haven't I told you that there is not an atom of
Yes,
jealousy in
and
my...
Lady Utterword told me that she never made scenes.
You evidently don't quite understand my character, or my notions of good form.
Is it your notion of good form to tattle on Lady Utterword?
I have not said a word against Lady Utterword, and this is just a conspiracy over again.
What conspiracy?
You know perfectly well, sir. A conspiracy to make me out to be pettish and jealous and childish and everything I am not.
Something in the air of this house has upset you. It often does have that effect. Ariadne!
What are you calling her for? I want to speak to you.
You're a terribly commanding person. What's the matter?
I do not know how to manage your friend Randall. No doubt you do.
Randall, have you been making yourself ridiculous again as usual? I can see it in your face. Really, you are the most pettish creature.
You know quite well, Ariadne, that I have not an ounce of pettishness in my disposition. I have made myself perfectly pleasant here. But I insist on being treated with a certain consideration. I will not allow Hushabye to take liberties with me. I will not stand your encouraging people as you do.
Randall, I will not allow it. I simply will not allow it. You had no right to discuss me with Hector. I will not be discussed by men. Why can't you think of something else than women? Napoleon was quite right when he said that women were the occupation of the idle man. Well, if ever there was an idle man on earth, his name is Randall Utterword. Oh, yes, you are. There's no use denying it. What have you ever done? What good are you? You were as much trouble in the house as a child of 3. You can't even live without your valet. Laziness. You are laziness incarnate. You are selfishness itself. You are the most uninteresting man on earth. Do you know what they call him, Hector?
I'll not perish.
Randall the Rotter. That is his name in good society.
I'll not stand it, I tell you. Will you listen to me? You infernal...
Well, go on. What are you going to call me? An infernal what? Which unpleasant animal is it to be this time?
There is no animal in the world so hateful as a woman can be. You are a maddening devil. Hushabye, you will not believe me when I tell you that I have loved this demon all my life. But God knows I have paid for it.
Cry, baby.
My friend, the Shotover sisters have two strange powers over men. They can make them love and they can make them cry. Thank your lucky stars you are not married to one of them.
Pray, Hector.
You attempt to start on me, Ariadne, I'll choke you, do you hear? The game of cat and mouse with the other sex is a very good game, but I can play your head off at it. It is true, Napoleon said, that woman is the occupation of the idle man. But, he added, she is the relaxation of the warrior. Well, I am the warrior, so take care.
My dear Hector, I've only done what you asked me to do.
How do you make that out, pray?
You called me in to manage Randall, didn't you? You said you couldn't manage him yourself.
Well, what if I did? I did not ask you to drive the man mad.
He isn't mad. That's the way to manage him. If you were a mother, you'd understand.
Mother? What are you up to now?
It's quite simple. When the children got nerves and were naughty, I smacked them. Just enough to give them a good cry and a healthy nervous shock. They went to sleep and were quite good afterwards. Well, I can't smack Randall. He is too big. So when he gets nerves and is naughty, I just rag him till he cries. He'll be all right now. Look, he's half asleep already.
I'm not. You're most cruel, Ariadne. But I suppose I must forgive you as usual.
Is the explanation satisfactory, dread warrior?
I shall kill you someday if you go too far. And I thought you were a fool.
Everybody does at first. But I am not such a fool as I look. Randall, go to bed. You will be a good boy in the morning.
I'll go to bed when I like. It isn't 10 yet.
It is long past 10. See that he goes to bed at once, Hector.
Is there any slavery on earth viler than this slavery of men to women?
I'll not speak to her tomorrow. I'll not speak to her for another week. I'll give her such a lesson. I'll go straight to bed without bidding her good night.
You are under a spell, man. Why should you allow yourself to be dragged about and beaten by Ariadne as a toy donkey is dragged about and beaten by a child? What do you get by it? Are you her lover?
You must not misunderstand me. In a higher sense. In a platonic sense.
A platonic sense? She makes you her servant, and when payday comes, she bilks you.
Well, if I don't mind, I don't see what business it is of yours. Besides, I tell you, I'm going to punish her. You shall see. I know how to deal with women. I'm really very sleepy. Say good night to Mrs. Hushby for me, will you? Like a good chap. Good night.
Poor wretch. Oh, women, women, women. Fall. Fall and crush.
What a lovely night. It seems made for us.
The night takes no interest in us. What are we to the night?
Beauty soaks into my nerves. In the night there is peace for the old and hope for the young.
Is that remark your own?
No, only the last thing the captain said before he went to sleep.
No, I am not asleep. Randall is. Also Mr. Mazzini Dunn. Mangan too, probably. No. Oh, you are there. I thought anxiety would have sent you to bed by this time.
I think I'm sure. He keeps telling me he has a presentiment he's going to die. I never met a man so greedy for sympathy.
I have a presentiment. I really have. And you wouldn't listen.
I was listening for something else. There was a sort of splendid drumming in the sky. Did none of you hear it? It came from a distance and then died away.
I tell you it was a train.
And I tell you, Alf, there are no trains at this hour. The last one is 9:45.
Not a goods train.
Not on our little line. They tack a truck onto a passenger train. What could it have been, Hector?
Heaven's threatening growl of disgust at us useless, futile creatures. I tell you, one of two things must happen. Either out of that darkness some new creation will come to supplant us as we have supplanted the animals, or the heavens will fall in thunder and destroy us.
We have not supplanted the animals, Hector. Why do you ask heaven to destroy this house, which could be made quite comfortable if it's they had the notion of how to live? Don't you know what is wrong with it?
We are wrong with it. There is no sense in us. We are useless, dangerous, and ought to be abolished.
Nonsense. Hastings told me the very first day he came here, nearly 24 years ago, what is wrong with the house.
What, the numbskull said there's something wrong with my house?
I said Hastings said it. It's not in the least a numbskull.
What's wrong with my house?
Exactly what is wrong with a ship, Papa. Wasn't it clever of Hastings to see that?
No, the man's a fool. There's nothing wrong with a ship.
I assure you, all this house needs to make it a sensible, pleasant, healthy house with good appetites and sound sleep in it is horses.
Horses? Oh, what rubbish.
Yes, horses. Why have we never been able to let this house? Because there are no proper stables. Go anywhere in England where there are natural, wholesome, contented, and really nice English people, and what do you always find? That the stables are the real centre of the household. There are only two classes in good society in England, the equestrian classes and the neurotic classes.
You know, there's something in that. My ship made a man of me, and a ship is the horse of the sea.
Exactly how Hastings explained your being a gentleman.
Oh, not bad for the numbskull. You must bring him with you next time. I'll have a little talk to him.
Why, is Randall such an obvious rotter? He is well-bred, he's been at a public school and a university, he's in the Foreign Office, he knows the best people, has lived all his life among them. Why is he so unsatisfactory, so contemptible? Because he is too lazy and pleasure-loving to hunt and shoot. He strums the piano and sketches and runs after married women and reads literary books and poems. He actually plays the flute, but I never let him bring it into my house. If he would only... Randall, you have not gone to bed. Have you been listening? Oh, vulgar. Go to bed instantly, Randall. How dare you? How could anyone care for such a creature?
Daddy, do you think that Ellie ought to marry poor Alfred merely for his money?
Oh, sir. Well, Mrs. Hushabye, are my affairs to be discussed like this before everyone?
I don't think is listening.
Everybody is listening. It isn't right.
Oh, but in the dark, what does it matter? Ellie doesn't mind, do you, Ellie?
Not in the least. What is your opinion, Lady Utterwood? You have so much good sense.
But it isn't right, I tell you. Oh, very well.
How much money have you, Mr. Mangan?
Oh, no, really, I can't stand it.
Nonsense, it all turns on your income, doesn't it?
Well, if it comes to that, how much money has she?
None. You are answered, Mr. Mangan. Now, as you've made Miss Dunn throw her cards on the table, you cannot refuse to show your own.
Come now, out with it. How much?
Well, if you want to know, I have no money. I never had any.
Oh. Alfred, you mustn't tell naughty stories.
I am not telling you stories. I'm telling you the raw truth.
Then what do you live on, Mr. Mangan?
Our travelling expenses and a trifle of commission.
What more do any of us have but travelling expenses for our life's journey?
You have factories and capital and things.
People think I do. People think I'm an industrial Napoleon. That's why Miss Ellie wants to marry me. But I tell you, I have nothing.
Do you mean that your factories are like Marcus's tigers, that they don't exist?
Oh, well, they exist, all right, but they're not mine. They belong to syndicates and shareholders, all sorts of lazy, good-for-nothing capitalists. And I get money from such people to start the factories. I find people like Miss Dunn's father to work them for me and keep a tight hand so as to make them pay. And, well, of course, I make them keep me going pretty well, but it's a dog's life, and I don't own anything.
Alfred, you are making a poor mouth of it to get out of marrying Ellie.
I am telling the truth about my money for the first time in my life, and it's the first time my word has ever been doubted.
How sad. Why don't you go in for politics, Mr. Mangan?
Go in for politics? Where have you been living? I'm in politics.
I'm sure I beg your pardon. I never heard of you.
Well, let me tell you, Lady Utterword, that the Prime Minister of this country asked me to join his government without even going through the nonsense of an election as the dictator of a great public department.
As a conservative or a liberal?
No such nonsense. As a practical businessman. What are you all laughing at?
Oh, Alfred.
You have to get my father to do everything for you.
You are afraid of your own workmen?
You with whom 3 women have been playing cat and mouse all the evening.
You must have given an immense sum to the party funds, Mr. Mangan.
Not a penny out of my own pocket. The syndicate found the money. They knew how useful I should be to them in the government.
It's all very interesting and unexpected, Mr. Mangan. And what have your administrative achievements been so far?
Well, I don't know what you call achievements. But I've jolly well put a stop to the games of the other fellows in the other departments. Every man of them thought he was going to save the country all by himself and do me out of the credit and out of my chance of a title. I took good care that if they wouldn't let me do it, they shouldn't do it themselves either. And now they all look the biggest fools going.
And in heaven's name, what do you look like?
I look like the fella that was too clever for all the others, don't I? And if that isn't a triumph of practical business, what is?
Is this England or is it a madhouse?
Do you expect to save the country, Mr. Mangan?
If I don't, who will? Will your Mr. Randall save it?
Randall the Rotter, certainly not.
Will your brother-in-law save it? With his moustache and his fine talk?
Yes, if they will let me.
How will they let you?
No, they prefer you.
Very well, then. You'd best be civil to me, hadn't you? Now, who else is there but me?
There is Hastings. Get rid of your ridiculous sham democracy and give Hastings the necessary powers and a good supply of bamboo to bring the British native to his senses. He will save the country with the greatest ease.
Oh, he's better be lost. Any fool can govern with a stick in his hand. I can govern that way. It's not God's way. The man's a numbskull.
The man is worth all of you rolled into one.
I say it matters very little which of you governs the country, so long as we govern you.
We? And who is we, pray?
The devil's granddaughters, dear. The lovely woman.
Fall, I say, and deliver us from the lures of Satan.
Seems to be nothing real in the world but my father and Shakespeare. Marcus's tigers are false. Mr. Mangan's millions are false. Nothing really strong and true about his Sione but her beautiful hair. Lady Utterword is too pretty to be real. One thing that was left to me was the captain's 7th degree of concentration. And that turns out to be
Rum.
A good deal of my hair is quite genuine. The Duchess of Dithering offered me 50 guineas for this, under the impression it was a transformation. But it is all natural, except the colour.
Look here. Look here. I am going to take off all my clothes. No! Shame. Oh, shame? What shame is there in this house? Well, let's all strip stark naked, huh? Now, we may as well do the thing thoroughly when we're about it, huh? Now, we stripped ourselves morally naked. Well, then let's strip ourselves physically naked as well and see how we like it. No, I tell you, I can't bear this. Now, I was brought up to be respectable. Now, I don't mind the women dyeing their hair and the men drinking. Well, no, that's human nature. But it is not human nature to tell everybody about it. So every time one of you opens your mouth, I go like this. You're afraid of what's going to come next. Look, how are we to have any self-respect if we don't keep it up that we're better than we really are?
Still, there is no use catching physical colds as well as moral ones, so please keep your clothes on.
I will do as I like, not what you tell me. What am I, a child or a grown man? God, I won't stand this mothering tyranny. Now, I'm going back to the city, where I am respected and made much of.
Goodbye, Al. Think of us sometimes in the city. Think of Ellie's youth.
Think of her Sione's eyes and hair.
Think of this garden where you're not a dog barking to keep the truth out.
Think of Lady Utterword's beauty, her good sense, her style.
Flatterer. Think, Mr. Mangan, whether you can really do any better for yourself elsewhere. That is the essential point, isn't it?
All right. All right, I'm done. Have it your own way. Only let me alone. I don't know whether I'm on my head or my heels when you all start on me like this. I'll stay, I'll marry her. I'll do anything for a quiet life. There, are you satisfied now?
No. I never really intended to make you marry me, Mr. Mangan. Never in the depths of my soul. I only wanted to feel my strength. To know that you could not escape if I chose to take you.
Do you mean you're going to throw me over after my behaving so handsome?
I should not be too hasty, Miss Dunn. You can live quite comfortably on Mr. Mangan's reputation for immense wealth.
I cannot commit bigamy, Lady Utterword.
Bigamy?
Only half an hour ago, I became Captain Shotover's white wife.
Ellie, what nonsense. Where?
In heaven, where all true marriages are made.
Really, Miss Dunn? Really, Papa?
You told me I was too old, and they have the mummy.
They're all to the grassy earth outspread, and their priest the muttering wind.
As I, Ellie Dunn, give my broken heart and my strong, sound soul to its natural captain, my spiritual husband and my second father.
Oh, that's very clever of you, my pettikin. Very clever. Oh, Alfred, you could never have lived up to Ellie. You will have to be content with a little share of me.
That isn't kind.
You are well out of it, Mr. Mangan. Miss Dunn is the most conceited young woman I've met since I came back to England.
Oh, Ellie isn't conceited, are you, Ellie?
I know my strength now, Hermione.
Brazen, I call you. Brazen.
Oh, tut, tut, Alfred, don't be rude. Don't you see how lovely this marriage night is made in heaven? Aren't you happy? You and Hector? Addie and Ellie look beautiful enough to please the most fastidious man. We live and love and have not a care in the world. We women have managed all that for you. Why, in the name of common sense, do you go on as if you were two miserable wretches?
I tell you, happiness is no good. You can be happy when you're only half alive. I'm happier now I'm half dead than I ever was in my prime. There's no blessing on my happiness.
Life with a blessing. That is what I want. Now I know the real reason why I couldn't marry Mr. Mangan. There would be no blessing on our marriage. There's a blessing on my broken heart. There's a blessing on your beauty, Hermione. A blessing on your father's spirit. Even on the lies of Marcus, there is a blessing. But on Mr. Mangan's money, there is none.
I didn't understand a word of that.
Neither do I, but I know it means something.
Well, don't say there was any difficulty about the blessing. I was ready to get a bishop to marry.
Oh, isn't he a fool, Betty?
Do not scorn the man. We are all fools.
Ah, here comes the only man who ever resisted me. What is the matter, Mr. Dunn? Is the house on fire?
No, nothing's the matter, but really, it's impossible to sleep with such an interesting conversation going on under one's window. And on such a beautiful night. I just had to come down and join you all. Now, what does it all be about?
Oh, wonderful things, those of the freedom.
Your daughter's match is off, Mr. Dunn. It seems that Mr. Mangan, whom we all suppose to be a man of property, owns absolutely nothing.
Well, of course, I knew that, Lady Atterworth. But if people believe in him and are always giving him money, whereas they don't believe in me and never give me any, how can I ask poor Ellie to depend on what I can do for her?
Well, now, don't run away with this idea that I have nothing. It happens. Don't explain. We understand. You've got a couple of £1,000 of exchequer bills, 50,000 shares with 10 pence a dozen, and half a dozen tablets of cyanide to poison yourself with when you're found out. That's the reality of your millions. Ever since I've come into this silly house, I've been treated like a fool. Though I'm as good a man in this house as I am in the city.
Yes, this silly house. This strangely happy house. This agonizing house. This house without foundations. I shall call it Heartbreak House.
Oh, stop, Ellie. I shall howl like an animal. There. You've set Alfred off.
I like him best when he is howling.
What? Silence! I say let the heart break in silence. You accept that name for your house? Well, it's not really my house. It's more like my kennel. We've been too long here. We do not live in this house. We haunt it.
It is dreadful to think how you have been here all these years, while I have gone round the world. I escaped young, but it has drawn me back. It wants to break my heart, too. But it shan't. I have left you and it behind. It was silly of me to come back. I felt sentimental about Papa and Hermione and the old place. I felt them calling to me.
But what a very natural, kindly, and charming human feeling, Lady Atterworth.
So I thought, Mr. Dunn, but I know now that it was only the last of my influenza. I found that I was not remembered and not wanted.
You left because you did not want us. Was that no heartbreak to your father? You pulled yourself up by the roots. And the ground healed and put forth fresh plants and forgot you. What right had you got to come back and probe old wounds?
You were a complete stranger to me at first, Daddy, but now I feel as if you've never been away.
Thank you, Hermione, but the influenza is quite cured. It may be Heartbreak House to you, Miss Dunn, and to this gentleman from the city, who seems to have so little self-control, but to me it is only a very ill-regulated and rather untidy villa without any stables.
Inhabited by?
crazy old sea captain and a young singer who adores him.
A sluttish female, trying to stave off a double chin and an elderly spread, vainly wooing a born soldier of freedom.
Oh, really, Mrs. Hushabye.
I'm a member of His Majesty's government that everyone sets down as a nincompoop. Don't forget him, Lady Utterword.
And a very fascinating gentleman, whose chief occupation is to be married to my sister.
All heartbroken imbeciles.
Your house is not Heartbreak House, is it, Lady Utterword?
Yes, she breaks hearts, easy as our house is. That poor devil upstairs with his flute howls when she twists his heart, just as Mangan howls when my wife twists his.
That's because Randall has nothing to do but have his heart broken. It is a change from having his head shampooed. Catch anyone breaking Hastings' heart.
Oh, the numbskull wins after all.
I shall go back to my numbskull with the greatest satisfaction when I'm tired of you all, clever as you are.
I never set up to be clever.
I forgot you, Mr. Mangan.
Oh, I don't see that quite either.
You may not be clever, Mr. Mangan, but you are successful.
But I don't want to be regarded merely as a successful man. I have an imagination like anyone else. I have presentiment.
Oh, Alfred, you are impossible. Here I am devoting myself to you, and you can think of nothing but your ridiculous presentiment. You bore me. Now come along and talk poetry to me under the stars.
It's all very well to make fun of me, but if you only knew.
How is this all going to end?
It won't end, Mr. Hushabye. Life doesn't end. It goes on.
We sit here talking and leave everything to Mangan and to chance and to the devil. Think of the powers of destruction that Mangan and his mutual admiration gang wield. It's madness. It's like giving a torpedo to a badly brought up child to play at earthquakes with.
Yes, I know. I used often to think about that when I was young.
Think? What's the good of thinking about it? Why didn't you do something?
Well, but I did. I joined the societies, made speeches, wrote pamphlets. That was all I could do. But you know, though the people in the societies thought they knew more than Mangan, most of them would never have joined if they had known as much. For you see, they had never had any money to handle, or men to manage. Every year I expected a revolution or some frightful smash-up. It seemed impossible that we could blunder and muddle on as we were. But nothing happened. Except, of course, the usual crime and poverty and drink that we're used to. Nothing ever does happen. It's amazing how well we get along, all things considered. I often feel there's a great deal to be said for the theory of an overruling providence, after all.
Every drunken skipper trusts in Providence. One of the ways of Providence with drunken skippers is to run them on the rocks.
Very true, no doubt, at sea. But in politics, I assure you, they only run into jellyfish. Nothing happens.
At sea, nothing happens to the sea. Nothing happens to the sky. The sun comes up in the east and goes down to the west. The moon grows from a sickle to an arc lamp and comes later and later until she's lost in the light, as other things get lost in the darkness. After the typhoon, the flying fish glitter in the sun like birds. It's amazing how they all get along, all things considered. Nothing happens. Except something not worth talking about.
What is that, oh Captain, my Captain?
Nothing but the crash of the drunken skipper's ship on the rocks, the splintering of his rotten timbers, the drowning of the crew like rats in a trap.
Moral, don't take rum.
No, it's a lie, child. Let a man drink 10 barrels of rum a day. He's not a drunken skipper till he's a drifting skipper. Whilst he can lay his course and stand on his bridge and steer it, he's no drunkard. But it's a man who lies drinking in his bunk and trusting in Providence that I call the drunken skipper, though he drinks nothing but the waters of the River Jordan.
Splendid, and you haven't had a drop for an hour. See, you don't need it. Your own spirit is not dead.
Echoes, only echoes. The last shot was 5 years ago.
And this ship we're all in, this soul's prison we call England.
The captain's in his bunk, drinking bottled ditch water. The crew are gambling in the forecastle. She will strike and sink and split. Do you think the laws of God will be suspended in favor of England
Because you were born in it? Well, I don't mean to be drowned like a rat in a trap. I still have the will to live. What am I to do?
Do? Nothing simpler. Learn your business as an Englishman.
And what may my business as an Englishman be, pray?
Navigation. Learn it and live. Or leave it and be damned.
Quiet, quiet. It'll tire yourself.
I thought all that once, Captain, but I assure you, nothing will happen.
What was that? Something happening.
Breakers ahead!
Who put that light out?
Who dared put that light out?
I attack! The police have telephoned! The ship will all be summoned! If we don't put that light out, it can be seen for miles!
It shall be seen for 100 miles.
And the wreck is nothing but a heap of bricks, they say. Unless we can get the clergyman a bed, he has nowhere to lay his head.
The church is on the rocks, breaking up. I told him he wouldn't as he headed for God's open sea.
And you are all to go down to the cellar.
Go there yourself and take the crew and batten down the hatches.
There, Mr. Hushabye has turned it all again.
That was near.
The next one will get us. Stand by, all hands, for judgment.
Hear the explosions and the sound in the sky. It's splendid. It's like an orchestra. It's like Beethoven.
I thunder, Hussaini, it is Beethoven.
The light is getting brighter.
It's Mr. Hushabye. Turning on all the lights in the house and tearing down the curtains.
Ivey, my soul, my flesh, just go down to the cellars. I beg and implore you, go down to the cellars.
His wife in the cellars with the servants rarely.
But what shall I do if you were killed?
You will probably be killed too. Now play your flute to show that you are not afraid, and be good. Play us Keep the Home Fires Burning.
They'll keep the home fires burning for us. They're up there.
My lips are trembling. I can't get a sound. I hope poor Mangan is safe.
He's hiding in the cave in the gravel pit.
My dynamite drew him there. It was the hand of God. There is not half light enough. We should be blazing to the skies.
Set fire to the house, Marcus.
House? No!
Yes, I thought of that, but it will not be ready in time. Judgment has come. Courage will not save you, but it'll show your souls are still alive.
You hear it? It's magnificent. Very blackguards. What next?
Anyone hurt?
It fell right in the gravel pit.
30 pounds of good dynamite wasted.
Oh, man.
Are you immortal that you need pity him? Our turn next.
Oh, they've passed us.
Danger's over, Randall. Go to bed.
Turn in, all hands. The ship is safe. Yes, safe.
How damnably dull the world has become again suddenly.
It is we who have survived. Mangan gone. And the poor clergyman will have to find a new house.
And what a glorious experience. Oh, I hope they come again tomorrow night. Oh, I hope so.